Entering items into the equipment and maintenance schedule. If I go to the equipment and maintenance schedule, by default, it shows all the items in there. To add a new item, simply click the Add New Item button. Now, this screen is designed to cater for any type of equipment, vehicle, site equipment, fire extinguishers, whatever. So you just use whichever areas are relevant. Now, I'm going to enter a fire extinguisher as an example. So we first of all give it a unique identifying code. So we'll say it's FeCO2-001. Then the description, so it's a 5 kilogram CO2 fire extinguisher. Product number, I haven't got. Serial number, I may or may not have, so I can just enter that. A license number is not applicable. Weight capacity, sometimes it's handy to put the weight of the item there. And then we need to say which department it is. So we're going to say it's the office and the category classed as fire extinguishers. We've then got an option to say where we purchased it from if we know. So we can type that in. And we can put the purchase date if we know that as well. So I'll just say it's quite an old one, 2013. The value, if we knew the value at the time, so let's say it's about £62. Current value, not really applicable. The equipment and maintenance manager, so that's whose list is it generally going to appear on. Everybody else can see it, but by default, when the next schedule action is due for this item, it will show on my startup dashboard as opposed to anybody else. If I want to change that to anybody else, simply click on it and then choose whichever user you want to be assigned to it. We have an area where we can attach a photo or an image of it. So I can import an image. Let's say there's a photograph of it in situ. And then along to the right here, next MOT due, well, that's not applicable. Tax due, not applicable. Next inspection service is applicable because we want these serviced every year. So we had this serviced in June last year. So the next inspection will be the 1st of June 22. Frequency of the inspection, it's every 12 months. So the next scheduled action date is the 1st of June 2022. I can then get the system to remind me a certain number of days before the actual due date. So let's say I want to be notified a fortnight before it's actually required. I've then got an area where we can type notes. So we could put more details about it. So we could say it's fire rating of 70B. We could say the discharge time is 9 seconds. And we could say that the expected lifespan is 10 years. Any relevant information that's useful to the item. And then more importantly, where the item is located. So we could say this is situated on the 1st floor, the entrance, and it's actually on the inside. So that is all the details we need to add in. We've then got an option where we can store documents with that. So it might be, I don't know, instruction manuals or things. We can then, I'm going to just show you if I import a photo of the label of when it was last serviced. So we can just find it, upload it in there, and we can say type, we can just say that's a photo. So that's tied to this. So at any time I can just come back and double click on that and we can look at the details from there. We can store PDF documents in there and such like. Then as and when the service history begins, we can then enter the details of the service and then put that in. So if I want to do this retrospectively, we could say that it was tested. Okay. carried out by, let's say it was Alpha Fire. Mileage count is not applicable. Net cost, well, not really applicable for this. And then I can either say non-scheduled work carried out, or I could say, yes, it was scheduled. So if I was doing this actually in June of this year, we then click inspection service carried out. It makes an entry, and then it will also then say the next scheduled date is the following year. Now, if I was entering this retrospectively, I can go and change that. Say that's actually was 21. Actually, we'll make the date more applicable. So it say it was 01, 06, 21. I can then go back and then say the next inspection date is 01, 06, 22. So we then put that back there. Click finish save. And that's now in our equipment and maintenance schedule. So if I list all items, you can see that it's showing there. I could select it by category, just say fire extinguishers, I'll find it from there. What we also ought to do is print a barcode or identifying code onto that. So if I double click on it, I can print identity barcode label. So if we preview on screen, so that'll then print a little barcode label there that you could actually stick to that fire extinguisher so that you can actually identify that fire extinguisher. When it then comes around to the period for servicing them all, to save the service engineer trying to find where they all are, obviously we'd have a few in there, you can select them and then say print inspection sheet, and then it would print a sheet for each of those items, and it would show his location. So he'd be able to go around the building looking for them. He can then date the inspection and then any comments or actions, and you can then go and update this accordingly. So that's for sort of equipment in-house, if you like. If I just show all the items again, and let's look at site equipment. So if I just list site equipment, and let's look at the cordless circular saw. Double click on that, we've got details on there. You can actually see that this one's currently out on site to contract 141. Let's say we've bought another one of these and I want to get it into the schedule. So rather than going to add new item and entering all the details again, I can double click on it and then say duplicate to new code. So by clicking duplicate to new code, the system will make an exact copy of that item, but with a duplicate reference. And I just need to change that to a new unique number. And then obviously I may need to change the serial number of the actual item. I probably need to change the purchase date. So we'll change that to today's date. The purchase value, current value. The rest of that can stay the same. Next inspection service, we might say, okay, it's going to be the 12th for the first 23 in every 12 months. I can then print an identity barcode for this particular item. So we print that. That would print barcode. So we then get the actual barcode, and then this would be stuck to the actual item. So in true Blue Peter fashion, I have my circular saw and then barcode label to that. So now that's now a new unique item. Click finished save, and now you can see we have the two circular saws. One's out on site and the other's available, obviously, because we've only just entered it. So that is how you enter in new items into the equipment and maintenance schedule.